This past July, I took a trip that changed my life. I spent 9 days in the Dominican Republic building a house for a local family, and the experience that I had was unlike anything that I could have ever imagined. When we had first arrived, there was already some work done on the house by a previous group. They had dug the footer and laid the first 2 rows of block. After about a half a day of work, we had 3 more layers built, along with the window and door frames. After another full day of work, we had the walls completely built. Once the walls were up, we were able to then tack on wooden boards to form channels in which we could pour concrete around the entire upper edge of the house. We had to do this so that we could have something solid to nail the wooden foundation of the roof into. This part of the build is where it got difficult though. Laying the block was not too bad. You just throw down some mortar and lay a block on top of it and make sure it's level. With the roof though, you're high up in the air. They don't really have anything in terms of safety precautions, and not to mention it had rained that day, so everything was wet and super muddy. Once the foundation of the roof was built, we were able to tack on the side paneling and nail down the sheets of zinc that actually formed the roof. At this point, our job was done. The only remaining task was to pour the concrete patio and the floor inside the home, a job that the organization that we worked with hires professionals to do. Now, not only did we build a house while we were down in the DR, but we were also able to visit some local schools and help out for a day. Now, school isn't typical for most kids in the DR. It's not mandatory, and most drop out around 7th or 8th grade to help out their families. The organization we were with isn't only building homes, they're actually creating and running schools that teach kids basic math, reading, and English skills, in hopes to continue their education and hopefully get them better jobs. At the end of every group's trip, the mission puts on a carnival for the local kids. Each member of our group had an activity that they could play. My girlfriend and I set up a balloon popping station. We taped some balloons to a wall and gave the kids some darts and let them go to town. The kids lined up in droves and they seemed to have a really good time. But what we realized is the kids actually wanted the balloons more than to pop them, so we changed the game up a bit. What we would do is we would tell the kids a color in Spanish and then give them the English translation. We then would hold up a balloon. If they could tell us the color in English, they got to keep it. And the kids on there, they don't have a lot of toys, they don't have a lot to do. So anytime they could get their hands on something, they try to take advantage of it. My time in the Dominican Republic was amazing. We built a home in just about a week, got to experience school with their kids for a day, and even had time for a little bit of relaxing in paradise. But this trip meant so much more than that. I learned a lot about myself while I was down there. I learned how to appreciate everything I have and how fortunate I truly am. The people we were with were remarkable. They have very little in terms of money or physical possessions, but I have never met a more kind, open, and happy group of people in my entire life. They opened their homes and their lives to complete strangers, sharing what little they had, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. This trip also taught me a lot about keeping a positive attitude. These people literally did not have a solid roof over their head, food and clothing were scarce, electricity coming on at random times for unknown periods of time, and running water and plumbing are virtually unknown, and yet they are still so happy and so grateful for what they do have. Anytime I'm having a bad day, anytime that I'm feeling down, I think about these people. Yes, I struggle at times, we all have our problems, but when you put things into perspective, it really shines a light on what's truly important. I had always said that I appreciate everything my family has and everything that I've worked for, but this trip really made those words true for me. When I look back at my time in the DR, I feel proud. I had the opportunity to build a home for a family that really needed it, and that's something that I will be proud of until the day I die. While I helped give them a home, they gave me so much more. A sense of appreciation for what I have, an understanding of true kindness and hospitality, a better attitude about life, and most importantly, a better sense of who I am as a man. Now on the surface, I was the one who was helping provide for others, but deep down, I'm the one who received the real gift. This trip really did change my life, and I will never forget the people that I met and the experience that I had. My salvation lies in